nation for a period of time, but it wasn't really generational.
Thank you.
You're not going to find generational slavery inside of Kemet, and then you're not going to. Well,
Yeah, I was just
not
about to.
there's no hyper. But like I said, also, brother, you like we have to take the blinders off and thinking Kemet was like a utopian civilization. It was not. It was a nation state, and as such, it did things that nation states had to do. It had spies. You know what I'm saying? It went on assassination missions. It heck, brother. There's some stuff about Kemet that I just don't say because it'll just damage everything. But Kemet
Okay.
was a nation state. It wasn't. It's not a utopia. Anybody that tells you anything is a utopia is straight up lying to you. Africa nowadays is not a utopia. There's no utopian situation anywhere.
All right. So let me ask you this question because I feel like that's an honest answer, and I like how you playing the offense. I like that. That's smooth. Whoever taught you well. So listen, right? Let me go with this, right? Would you agree if I told you that it was the ancient Egyptians who were the first to allow Europeans into Africa?
Was it now? Is that a situation of allow, or are we talking again about war?
Allow, not war. Allow.
Tell me how that happened. What do you mean? How did the first Europeans come to Africa?
I'm gonna show it to you in your own books. I'm gonna show it to you. What do you think about Professor G.M. George? I mean George
George
James.
D.M.
What do you think
James.
about him?
George
What do you
D.M.
think about
James.
Professor
Yeah,
George
Stolen
James?
Legacy. Stolen Legacy. Stolen Legacy. Awesome book.
What do you think about Mulana Karenge, who was one of the six founders of ASCAC?
Maulana Karinga.
Yeah, Mulana
Uh, that's
Karenge.
com that's complex, brother. That's
What do
very
you mean
complex.
complex? These some of the books I'm gonna use. What do you think about him? And how is it
Maulana
complex?
Karinga. It depends on who you ask. Maulana Karinga is a his scholarship and his contribution to Afrocentricity is really nice. But him as a person, that's really interesting. Like where I'm from, I was part of the Kwanzaa community, right? But my mentors were also Black Panthers, ex-Panthers, and they hate Karinga. And they hate Karinga because his organization and the Panthers organization in 1968 had a shootout on Berkeley's campus, right? Because he led an organization called the United Slaves, and then they were like in competition for the hearts and the minds of the people. And so he had a shootout in 1968 in Berkeley's campus where he killed Bunchy Carter. I don't know if it was him, but his organization did. And then his organization was accused. Now, back in the 1960s, abuse was really rampant in the black community, but his organization and he was accused of stripping women naked and beating them in order to get them into submission. And so that's on record. And it's also been um, in the on the grapevine that he's yeah, he's an agent, so on and so forth. Now I don't know about that being 100 percent. His work on Ifa, his work in on Kwanzaa, that's beautiful. His work that you're about to bring up, Ma'at, a social ethic or something, some other part of the title. Those are good works that he's done. So, it's kind of questionable. I met him myself a few times. The first time I met him was when I had to ask him about a Kwanzaa event because when we did Kwanzaa, we didn't allow white people to come to our events, and I was the person who stood at the door to kick white people out, right? And then I remember when he came to Seattle and he was giving a lecture at the University of Washington, and I wanted to know his stance on what we did. I went up and asked him after his lecture. I was like, we put on Kwanzaa events, but we don't let white people attend because we figure that this is an all safe black space where we need to be free to express ourselves without the influence of any European around. And his answer to me was, "Is it a private gathering? If it's a private space, then I can't say anything." No real conceptual kind of like reinforcement or nothing, just purely economics. I was like, okay, like that's what it is. The second time I met him, he came out to DC, and the oldest Pan African black school, Ujima, who was started with Baba Zulu, who marched with Stokely Carmichael. He came to support the efforts of that brother, and I didn't talk to him. I just saw him.
Okay. So I hear your perspective. The reason I asked you is because I would like to know who and what is credible in your eyesight. Um, so I'll know what to use. Right. So when we go inside of the book Stolen Legacy by Professor George G.M. James, who by the way was Dr. Ben Yonica's master teacher. Um, it states in the introduction, it states this: after nearly 5,000 years of prohibition against the Greeks. And we know the Greeks was the very first civilized Europeans in the world. The Greeks were. After the Greeks was the Romans. So check out what he says, y'all. After nearly 5,000 years of prohibition against the Greeks, they were permitted. What do permitted mean? Let's look that up, y'all, in a few. Let's look it up. They were permitted to enter Egypt for the purpose of their education. For the purpose of their education. So not only did Professor James mention that they received permission, they received accessibility into ancient Kemet, but they also were educated by the Kemetic priests. Now, check out this. Let's look up the definition for permission. Permitted. Let's look it up. I tell people never underestimate the power of a word. Never deny it. Permitted. Check out this, y'all. This is the definition for permitted. Permitted is defined as to give authorization or consent to someone to do something. Authorize or give permission for something. That is what permitted means. So the ancient Kemites authorized the Greeks' entry into Kemet. They did that. And not only did they grant them permission to come into their accessibility, they also educated them. I want to ask you, Cosmic, what did they educate them on? And why did they let them into Egypt? Why?
All right. So if I'm not mistaken, the first person that went over into Egypt, or one of the first people, was Thales, right? And Thales spent 20 something odd years between Egypt and Babylonia to learn what he learned, and then he came over and uh, began to teach his school of philosophy, which was all things started in water. Right now, that's one of the things they began to teach, but people just came in and learned. It's like one person comes in and learns. Like if you go into Africa today, you'll find white people that are babalaos, right? The nature of and then when you look at the nature of the African mind, typically we do see people as just expressions of the creator. Even when Kemet has that as its motto, like it understands everybody comes from the creator, and then it's teaching. It didn't teach them in mass. Like number one, just a few of the students came in. Like they tried their hardest to closely guard their secrets until they just started coming in mass. So there's like you got to look at their infiltration in stages. Like when you're on the Thales, not Anaxagoras. Like when he came through, it was because of the Persians. had fought and weakened Egyptians' defenses, and he was able to get access to the temples. But like when Thales is coming through and Socrates is coming through, they're only allowing just a few students to come in and learn their wisdom, right? So and then and Pythagoras, there it goes. And Pythagoras is coming through. They're just allowing like a few, like a literally a handful. And I mean, what are we gonna say to that, man? It's like integration in the 1920s and shit. Like you had one or two black people at an all-white school, that made it through. They just proved themselves to the Egyptians, and the Egyptians taught them some things. And as a result, they brought it back to their
How did
people.
they prove
And
themselves?
that I don't know. There's no documentation on that.
So
I mean, if I
there's no
told you
document.
something, it would be if I told you something on the exact process, that's just conjecture. Like I haven't read the initiation process that Thales nor Pythagoras had to go through in order to be initiated into the temple. Like if anybody has those documents, that'd be cool to read how they proved themselves.
All right. So you said that the ancient Egyptians, Kemites, they saw everybody as an expression of the Creator. I disagree. For one, the ancient Kemites had slave soldiers, and they were known as the Mamluks or Mamliks. It's some spell it Mamluk. This is the actual term, y'all. Look it up. Mamluk. And these were the slaves of Turkish origin from the Euro-Asian steppe. These are also Europeans from the Caucasus region. We cannot forget the fact that the Caucasus region, that is the Lesser Caucasus, as well as the Greater Caucasus, was an Egyptian colony, y'all. Yes, the Caucasus region was an ancient Kemite colony. They controlled it. Peace first, Cali. Peace, love. They controlled it. So, keeping that in context, how can the ancient Kemites see everybody as an expression of the Creator and still enslave the expression of the Creator? May we deem it prisoners of war. How can you hold any expression of the Creator as a prisoner? How can you go to war with any expression of the Creator? Because if you see that individual as expression of the Creator, then you see the Creator Himself and His works in and out of that expression, that person, that group of people. Yet and still, the ancient Kemites enslaved Nubians and they enslaved these Turkish Caucasoid people. So
All
that
right,
would be
number
a
one, you just
contradiction
go
in
into the
itself.
brother Shake. No, it's not. Number one, you just go into their creation story. I don't have it on me right now, but they themselves say that all men are created from the Creator. There's one creation story where they say that men are created from the teardrops of Ra, or the teardrops of God. Like men, not just black men, not just Kemites, not Asiatics. Mankind was created from the drops, from the teardrops of Ra, right? So their
It
conception
wasn't no
is
such thing as a
that
white person in the beginning, though, Cosmo. It wasn't no such
no,
thing
you
as a
gotta.
white person. Of
Well, you're
course, the
not. If
historical.
you teach that, you're not gonna be historically accurate because when you look at the origins of Kemetic
I'll
civilization,
show you.
the origins of Kemetic civilization, like its foundation is African, but then we have to take it. We have to look at that the Semitic influence that occurred in that Avaris area. That Avaris area, that marsh-like area that leads over into Canaan, Mesopotamian region, and there's always been traffic of the lighter skinned people coming from that region and influencing the development of Kemet. Like if you're not going to get away from that. If you don't really deal with that, you're not really dealing with comedic history. You're dealing with like you're dealing with the old school knowledge, but that's not really taking into account those elements that were there because there were African elements coming up from the south, but there's always been elements of the Eurasian coming in from that northwest, that north eastern corner that's connected to the Mesopotamian region. You're not going to get away from that.
All right, so
Whatever you're
what I'm
showing is
going to
too
show
close.
now, I got you. So check out this. It states this: genetic research indicates that all y'all got to do is type in the Google search engine, "Are blue eyes a mutation?" You're going to discover this, y'all. Check out this, y'all. Genetic research indicates that the mutation, that means at some point something went wrong, y'all. Stuff for a lot. That the mutation that caused blue eyes probably occurred between 6,000 to 10,000 years ago with an individual in Northern Europe. The mutation essentially turns off the iris' ability to produce melanin. Generations and millennia later, the world has millions of people with blue eyes. Look at this, y'all. Between 6 to 10,000 years ago, the Sphinx itself dates back older than 10,000 years ago. The pyramids itself dates back to over 10,000 years ago. So, keeping this in context, how in the hell did white folks get as a part of the creation story in ancient Kemet? There's a conflict right here. There is a conflict, and this is written by great white folks right here. This is a conflict. It makes no sense. We got to make it make sense.
Brother Sheikh, if you pull up the Kemetic understanding of the different types of men, you'll see the Kemites represented. You'll see a darker skinned
Who
Nubian
is it written
represented.
by?
You'll see that's on the walls of Kemet itself.
All
Just
right,
pull
who
up Google.
translated it?
Google. It's no translation. It's pictures, man. It's the pictures left on the walls of Kemet.
I know, but
Just
just
Google
pass me.
ancient Egyptian. Wait,
I'm
brother
asking.
Sheikh. Just
I'm asking a question.
Google. Just Google
Oh, go ahead.
ancient Egyptian representation of the races of men. It's not a translation. Just Google and look up the images. There are images on how they represented the
Right.
races of men, and you'll see it go from dark skin to lighter skin.
So check out that. We do know, and I didn't show pictures. Matter of fact, God Energy, as well as a few of my students had these pictures. Europeans going inside of the tombs and the pyramids and repainting the Egyptians. Matter of fact, even on side of the TV, they showed it too. Secondly is this. Hold on. Secondly is this. Yeah, it is. Go ahead. Park in the back. All right. Look. All right. All right. So check out this, right? We know this. Everybody outside of Vigo knows this, right? Second point is this. When it comes to the hieroglyphics on the wall, that can only be interpreted by a hierophant. A hierophant, right? Because what is the duties of a hierophant? Y'all can look it up. Hierophant, hieroglyph, the root, the prefix is hiero. And we're dealing with glyphs. This is why I'm asking the brother who translated. If y'all remember, before the in the preamble of this discussion, I asked about his qualifications. Not seeking to disqualify my brother, but this lets me know on what level can I go with my questions and where I could find my pointers at and start picking at it until we pick a hole in a wall. So check out this. The reason I asked him who is the translator is because if you were not initiated into the craft, and even Professor James even declared if you weren't initiated in the craft, then you don't know what the glyphs mean. You are assuming. You are assuming. The only way you can know what them glyphs is when the master teachers of ancient Kemet there was an oral translation. It was an oral translation from the master's teacher's mouth to the student's ear. It was an oral translation. None of these Kemetic people in the community has ever received that tradition. Because for one, there is no more Kemetic community in reality. Hold on. let me say this. Let me show y'all this on page 39, and let me flip it so y'all can see. Let me flip it so y'all can see. Peace, Queen X, and you peace, Lil. Check out this. When we flip this on page 39, flipping this so no one can say I'm lying. Check out what it says, y'all. During the Persian, Greek, and Roman invasions, large numbers of Egyptians fled, meaning they got the fuck on. All you seen was ass and elbows. That's it. Not only to the deserts and mountain regions, but also to adjacent lands in Africa, Arabia, and Asia Minor, where they live, and secretly developed the teachings which belong to their mystery system. In the 8th century AD, the Moors, that's my people, the Moors, natives of Mauritania and North Africa, invaded Spain and took with them the Egyptian culture, which they, that's the Moors, had preserved. I ain't gonna tell y'all yet as to how the Moors got the Egyptian mystery system, but yeah, the Egyptians
So
fled. They
wait,
got the fuck on.
brother Sheikh, are you a person that says the hieroglyphs have never been translated? Is that your
They
stance
never
as
have,
well?
and I can prove they
I
never
mean,
been
wait.
translated. I
I
can
mean,
prove
we're
it.
not. We're definitely not going to agree on that level. And are you
Who
doing the whole
translated
thing
them?
with Are you doing the whole thing with Are you on the side of that one brother on Sarnetta's show? What's his name? Comedic Hierophant or whatever his name
No,
is. Do you take that
no.
position?
I have my own side.
Because right, because if you do, I mean, we're just not going to agree.
If
Period. Like you, and I'm okay with you not agreeing because the way I learned it from Dr.
you
Mario
may
Beatty,
change my
right? I
perspective,
learned,
Cosmic.
no, but I'm
Cosmic,
not here
you
to
may
do
be.
that. I'm here to just talk with you. Now, let me tell you my
What?
lineage, brother.
Wait.
Now,
Hold
I
on.
learned from
I,
Dr.
before you even get
Wait. Let
ready,
me just
let
explain
me ask
something.
this
I
question:
learned from
Who
Dr.
trans
Mario Beatty.
model
Wait,
next?
I learned from Dr. Mario Beatty. Dr. Mario Beatty learned from
Did he
Dr.
ever go to
Theophilo
Egypt?
Binga. Dr. Theophilo Binga and Dr. Sheikh Anta Diop are the ones that stood before the UNESCO conference in 1976 in order to prove Egypt was black. Now that's my intellectual lineage. There's no now if you want to say it's not translated, I'm not there's no argument for me on that. Like that there's no use in arguing that to me. Like I have and been initiated in my way in understanding the how to translate and read the glyphs in my
But I
way. And if
talk.
you
But
don't
hold on,
accept
Cosmic.
that,
I had a
wait, if you don't
conversation
accept
with
that,
Stephanu. Her
it's
daddy never
not.
been to Egypt. She said
If
her
you
father
don't,
never
wait,
been to
shake.
Egypt.
I just told you my intellectual lineage. But
I
if
get
you're
that.
just gonna say it's not translated, I'm not gonna try to prove it to you. Like I've
I'm
done my
not
work
saying prove it to
already.
you,
I've
but
met
it's
with
bigger
my
than me
brothers
and
and
you,
sisters,
Cosmic. It's about the
and
viewers who watching.
and right, Shake, but I'm also saying, like, the work that's being done is being done by brothers and sisters already. Like, your position is just your position. There's already loads of work being done in reference to translating the glyphs, understanding the works of Kemet, understanding the culture in a particular field and discipline. But you're saying it hasn't been translated, so all of Egyptology is bullshit in reference to your statement, and that's your position. Like, I mean, I'm not here to convince you that's wrong or that's right or nothing. That's just your position. Like, I know my intellectual lineage. I know what I've done to learn the glyphs. And then I know what the people in my lineage are doing in reference to this field. There's nothing to argue on that level. Like, even Milana Karinga, the people you're going to bring up to argue in this thing has been trained in those same fashion. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm not here to say that your position is wrong. I'll hear what you have to say, but the people in the lineage that I come from are already doing the work. All right, I'm done.
All right. All right. So let me ask you this: Who translated the hieroglyphics? The
I mean,
hieroglyphs.
you know the answer to that, man. Like, get to a real question. Like, get to your
All
real
right.
question. You
But
know the basic answers.
hold on. But the people don't know. It ain't about me and you. This
Then you
dialogue
need
is
to.
for them.
Then no, but no, that's not a dialogue. Those are setups, man. Get to your real discussion.
All right. So I get to the real discussion. Y'all check out this, y'all. It wasn't a nigga. It wasn't a comedic person. It was a French European guy. Y'all see this? Cairo, the 27th of September 2020. This breaking it down. On September 27th, 1822, France, that's a European, French Egyptologist Jean Francois Champollion was able to decipher the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs after studying the Rosetta Stone. Their translation comes from a white man, not a nigga. Do y'all see this? Do y'all see this? We ain't even gonna get to the fact that, hold on, look at this. Flag of Egypt. I want y'all to see this. We not gonna get off into the fact that the Egyptian flag is a Nazi flag. This is the flag of Egypt. This is the flag of Egypt, y'all. Hold on. Look at this. Hold on. So Egypt has been under the influence of Europeans, the French, the German Nazi. We ain't who listen. Who the hell was in charge to even protect the pyramids of Giza? It wasn't a nigga. It wasn't Sheikh Anti Diop. It was a European. Let me show y'all something. I want y'all to see this. Now I just showed y'all the flag of Kemet, the flag of Egypt. Look at this. Y'all see that goddamn bird? Look at it. This is where your flag of Egypt got its influence from. Listen, Sheikh Anti Diop, all these Negroes went over there. Why they didn't have the influence, have enough influence in Kemet? And I'm not discrediting them, but why did they influence be so overwhelming, so popular to the point where they could have fixed the flag, to the point where they could have positioned somebody, deployed somebody to protect the pyramids instead of Europeans? Why? See, this is the questions that nobody is answering. You had a European counting your money, aka this, aka right? Oh, I'm with Donald Trump all day. I need that stimmy.
So wait,
Listen,
brother, is your argument just because a European translated it, that means it's off and wrong and painted with that? Is that it? Because
yeah,
I mean
because you
that
don't know, you
if
don't know
that's your
his intent.
discussion, like I said, you win the debate, bro, on that level, and then everybody's work is bullshit. So throw away Milana Karinga's book that you have because it's complete trash if that's the case. Because
No,
Milana Karinga would
I
know
use it
jack.
as a
No,
source
wait,
of
shake.
education to teach
Milana
the people the
Karinga's
right way
work
to
would have not
live
mean
from.
anything. No. Milana Karinga comes in the same intellectual tradition that I do. And so
And
his
that's
work is
cool.
complete
That's cool.
trash.
But guess
His
what?
work is complete
Guess what?
trash
I'm
in
going to use
relationship
it.
to
Just like I use
Brother
the
Shake.
Bible and
Let me
scripture to
finish
use
my
it. You
point,
know,
Brother Shake. Brother Shake, let me finish my point. His
go
work
ahead.
would be complete trash if you're saying that it's never really been translated. Just don't even bring up Malanga and Kareem because that doesn't even make any sense. There would be no understanding of 42 nothing
You
because there
commit a
would be no
fallacy right
understanding
now.
of numbers.
You commit a
No, I am
fallacy
not
right now.
because Malana Karinga's work is based on Ma'at, right? If the book's name is Ma'at, that means Ma'at was translated from Kemet into English terms. You
By who?
cannot do that
How did he do it? Exactly. I
if you're
question that too.
saying so why even use it, brother? So like what I'm
Because
saying,
I
people
use it
are
against,
already
I use it, I
brother
studied it
Shake,
so I want to understand your community's mentality. I want to
right?
understand
But then
why
if
y'all
you're
think how
saying
y'all think the way y'all think.
But if you're saying because a white man touched it, it's tainted and impure and
It
untranslated,
all
that's
right,
just
what was
what
the
it is, brother.
credentials?
So
What was the
we got
credentials of
a
James
whole
Napoleon?
we got a whole tradition, brother. We got entire colleges set up in this tradition. We got hundreds of black
So do the
students
white
right
man.
now
It
at
still ain't
Howard
right. It still ain't
University
right.
learning
It
this
still ain't right.
tradition. So that's just the way it goes. Now,
The white man got colleges too.
what you're going to have to do then is develop your position and convince other people that this is incorrect. And it's got to be better than something that this was a white man. You got to come with something harder than that. You got to
Oh,
show
I do.
how it's
I do.
inconsistent, how it doesn't make, how the translations, the transliteration is 100% wrong. You got to show, you can't just use the term "it's a white man" to say, and all of a sudden now, oh, red flags go up,
Yeah.
everything is wrong, because that right there is intellectual. That's intellectual laziness. You
No,
understand?
it's
And
not.
you're appealing.
No, it's
You're
not. You using
appealing
the
to the
same. You using the
biasness.
same
You're
argument that
appealing
Sister
to the
Brian
bias.
used when
Wait,
she
but
got
let me
brung
land,
up.
brother. I'll
Not
land
yours.
pretty soon. I'll land pretty soon. You're appealing
Man,
to
I'm
black
shooting that
people's
motherfucker.
biasness against white people. It shouldn't be whether or not they're white. It should be, is the information correct or
How do
incorrect?
you know if it's
Because
correct? Did you
it
test it?
because you
Did you
gotta
test it?
test it. You have to
Did you
test
test it?
it. It's been
Kasha, did you
tested.
test it?
Shake, it's been tested. It's not about
By
me. It's
who?
a whole body of work. It is a whole
By
body of
who?
work. What is your, so you tell me it's how it's wrong, brother.
All
You
right.
tell me how it's
Look,
wrong
y'all.
besides the color of somebody's skin.
Can I go? Can my plane take off? Can my plane take off? Now check out this, y'all. The guy that the guy who society he belongs to. I don't know if y'all remember the beautiful sister Stephanie. I spoke with her on and off the app. I asked her a very important question, right, y'all? I say, yo, Stephanie, I say, did your father ever study in Kemet? Do you know what she said? No. He never studied in Kemet. Did he ever get initiated into the craft of Kemet? You know what the sister said? No. He never did. He never studied the craft in Kemet. Never. He never did. He never did. He never studied. He never studied in ancient Kemet. He was never initiated. I asked her, well, how did your father receive his qualifications when it came to Kemet? She said this. This is her words, y'all. As a matter of fact, I think I still got her number. I could call her, right? She said that he was caught up in a trance, a goddamn trance. And this is how he received the information from Kemet. Mind you, this is Cosmic's master teacher. This is the guy whose society he belonged to. But the guy whose society he belonged to, own daughter, said some bullshit as to how her father got the information. So that's strike one. Strike two. What was Gene Chapolian's qualifications when it came to the Madu natural language? What was his qualifications when it came to ancient Kemet? There is none. I did the research. I'm just waiting on you to say the wrong thing so I could unleash some shit because he had no qualifications. He never spoke Madu Nature. Madu Nature was a secret language known only from the master teachers of ancient Kemet to the students. And again, it was an oral translation. And I could show you Professor George G.M. James' own words saying you only knew this shit if you was an initiate into the ancient Kemetic craft. Other words, it's saying this. It's never been translated. It's bullshit because Jean Chapolian was not an initiate into the craft. He was not an initiate. He's not. I got the Egyptian books. You right, my brother. You right. Why do I have the books if I don't believe in them? Hold on. Let me show you something. Let me show you something, right? Just in case you didn't know how hard I go in on this study and shit. Look, I got a bunch of books that I don't. Well, I believe in this. This is the Quran. I got a bunch of books that I got the Book of Mormon in this motherfucker. I'm not a Mormon. I got Hindu books in here. I got Christian books in here. I got Buddhist books in here. That don't mean I believe in them. I study them because I'm universal. I'm not, you can't put Sikh in a box. I'm able to sit at any table, any religious, spiritual, any field of discipline. I'm able to sit. I got economic books, books dealing with entrepreneurship, psychology books, law books, whatever. Whatever topic you name, I'm there. Biology, medical books, because I want to be able to sit at any table and have an intellectual dialogue, an exchange of intellectual property. So you ask why I got the book, Maya. I got it because I don't want to be ignorant about anything. I kept hearing people on this app talk about Maya, and come to find out they was lying. They said there wasn't no religion in ancient Egypt. Bullshit, because according to the book of Maya, Maya was not only an idea, a philosophy of moral ethics, it was also the ancient Kemetic religion. It was also the ancient Kemetic religion according to that book. So that is the answer as to why I got the book, among other books that I really don't believe in, but I don't want to be ignorant. So again, your master teacher, then studying Kemet, Gene, 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 that white man, right? It became a religion as a lot. True indeed. Absolutely. Absolutely. Gene Napoleon, he was not qualified to translate it. If you saying that a white man was more qualified than why didn't Sheikh Diop translate the Madu Neter? Why didn't he do it? Why didn't Dr. Ben take his ass over there and do it? Why didn't? Why didn't all these great why didn't George GM James why didn't he go over there to do it? Y'all know why? Because all them niggas were still Masons. All them niggas were still Masons, y'all. They was Freemasons. All of them. I'm not saying they picked it up and put it down. No, they died Freemasons. And in the Masonic Lodge, you got what's called the Egyptian Room. Did y'all know about that? It's called the Egyptian
Yep.
Room. Yeah. See, that's what they not go tell. See, I'm gonna put it on
Only
the floor
only
like Big Lotto said. Put it on
Hey,
the
Des,
floor.
let me respond to
the
him.
only
Let
the
me
only
land and let me
reason only
My,
respond.
reason
my
I
plane is
Des,
plane. I landed my plane. Go ahead.
yeah, let me.
I
Des,
was
go ahead,
I was
brother.
gonna
But
say
I
the
definitely
only
want to respond.
the only like I can't debate, you know what I mean, who did what, where, why, and all of that. Right? I can't debate that. But at the point and in the interest of universal knowledge, when you study the principles of the things that you're speaking about, they echo over and over and over and over again. And the things that they most primarily echo is the connection between mind, spirit, physical, and the rest of the universe. With that being stated, all of the systems that have been studied, or I ain't gonna say studied, but organized, have eventually, specifically at our point of history, become religions. I don't think that negates the principles of the things that are being taught. Even Christianity has principles that are absolutely principle. You get what I'm saying? And so when you ask the question of how could he possibly access these things through trance, it's the same answer as maybe a master yogi who has gone places mentally that other people have not gone, and have received understandings that people who have not gone to those spaces received. And that's perfectly explainable. It doesn't have anything to do with, having to actually go to the land, because the land itself is connected to everything as you are connected to everything. It's just about learning to access those connections. So I wouldn't want to now if what he was saying, right, were like what Cosmic said, were not things that correlate with even the things that science is discovering in our now. If they didn't correlate with those things, if you couldn't put to practice a lot of the things that he was stating and utilize them for the benefit of oneself and collective nation, whatever, then I would have to agree with you in stating that he's some type of fraud, or that the information that he's presenting is detrimental or dangerous. But the fact that it does correlate with things that even science is, like I said, confirming and utilizing in today's time, then that does deserve, if at the very least, some vested interest in figuring out the intricacies and subtle connections of all of these things, as opposed to just calling everything unuseful.
All right. Thank you, brother Des, for that. Now, brother Shake. First of all, I'm gonna. The people saw you do this. Whoever's watching, but I'm gonna outline what you did. Right. So instead of addressing the topics of the conversation, you decide to try to attack me to diminish me in some sense, and then you by saying my affiliation with the Tharfet, and then you add the term yourself, master teacher, when I never said that. And if anything, if you ever listened to my conversation, you would understand that I have a wide variety of people that I learned from. Besides Shechem, there's Muada Ashby, who's done a lot of research on ancient Egypt, whose book, African Origins, is supreme and superb in reference to understanding Egyptian philosophy and the influence of African philosophy on the world religions, right? The second thing you did was, once again, your only criteria for doubting the translation of the hieroglyphs is that it was a white man that did it. And then on top of that, you confuse timelines, right? And then you said, why didn't Theophilo Benga or Sheikh Anta Diop or George G. M. James go over and translate the glyphs? Why did they rely on Champollion? Oh, because they are all Masons. My brother, they didn't live in the same time periods.
Jean Chapollyon was a
Champollion,
Freemason too.
Champollion,
Yeah,
okay, the same organization. Champollion lived 100 years before George D. and James. By the time George D. and James came up on the scene,
they
the
held
the
him to be credible
fundamental
because they
man, you
are
gotta stop
Masons,
cutting me
brother.
off, Shake. Shake,
Go ahead.
you gotta stop cutting me off, brother. When you went on your rant, I was just quiet.
I mean, you asked me my
All
plan
right,
was gonna land, but I'm muted. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
don't be sorry, just don't do it again, brother. So So then you got to look at the time periods because you confuse a lot of things, right? Like even in our last conversation that we were having earlier, you confuse the time period of when the Egyptians enslaved the Nubians because of nation state and the Mamluks. By the time the Mamluks come around, which is 800 AD, the Egyptian state it's not really Egyptian anymore. If anything, you just have the Gnostic mystery system still lasting, and the Neoplatonism that's being brought back together by the Islamic conquest. You're confusing timelines here. They didn't do it because they were Masons. It's because the work had already been done, and they did not question the methods or the techniques that the translation of the glyphs went through, and they were just going off of the body of work that the people that were translating it produced. Now, what you're doing is you're questioning and saying that for some reason you have this criteria that it's not been translated correctly. Now, I hope that if you want to challenge the current state of Egyptology, you have something better as a criteria of why it's wrong than that Champollion was a white man. Because that right there sucks as a criteria, brother. That is low level critique. And that is a racial critique that doesn't need to be there. Is his information correct? Yes or no? Is it wrong? Why? Why is it incorrect? How is it incorrect? And why is it not able to be used? But you can't produce that. And then you're only saying white men appealing to the bias of brothers and sisters against white people, not saying it is not rational, it is not logical. The approach that this person took is off, and it is incorrect. Number two, in the second part, Shechem, like when you study the Asar Set Society, it was not a trans state, it was the development over the course of decades. And
Right,
Himself
cultivation.
says, yeah, he says in on page 2 of his book, it is a practical syncretism of Kemetic, Dravidian, and Canaanite religions. He tells you it's a syncretism. And syncretism means that it's an amalgamation of spiritual traditions. And then he's telling you that off the bat. He is not saying that he went over to Kemet and got initiated. That's not the tradition it's coming from. But when you study the principles of the Meta itself, and then you study the pyramid texts, when Shechem is telling you that these are divine principles within inside the self that you can cultivate. And then when you go to Africa and they're saying the same thing, you have
Go
your
to
Ori
India, they're saying
over
the
your
same
head
thing.
is
You go to
Shango, and
China,
you
they're
go to
saying the same
India, yeah,
thing. Yeah.
they're saying the same thing. What he's presenting to you is melanated mysticism that can be found worldwide. He's boxed it into Kemetic science, but really what it is melanated mysticism. Now, if you want to put things in, that's why I said I am a member of a SAR set, because I understand the power of organization and moving as a group. My mentality, however, studies widely and from different teachers. So like attacking me, I didn't. That's why I did said I just wanted to have a conversation. I didn't feel like doing an attack thing. Just have a conversation because Kemet is a part of world history. It's not mythology. You know what I'm saying? You can study it regardless of if you hold it in high esteem or if you just wanted to get a degree in it to get paid by white people. You know what I'm saying? It's a part of world history, like it or not.
I say this a lot, and I really feel like it's a fact. Even we're gonna destroy ourselves by trying to quantify or qualify uh, which knowledges or which understandings are worth utilizing. We're going to destroy ourselves by doing that. It's so much easier and it's so much more prominent even. I don't understand how people miss the correlations. They miss these connections. They miss the identical understandings globally, even utilized to establish Moorish nations and kingdoms that have created the civics that we still live by today. These things are based in the understandings of universal principles and conscious thinking and living and utilization of energy. All of those understandings come from those principles. These are the principles that are being pointed to in the Marujatar. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand why it is that we're knocking these things down when I don't. Again, it doesn't matter from what perspective you're coming from as long as you're utilizing principles. There's a difference between principles and rules, or principles and ideas, or principles and opinions, or principles and variables. A principle is going to be there and it's going to be applicable regardless of whether you
Mm.
see it, believe it, observe it, acknowledge it, want it. It doesn't matter. It's there. Now, not everything stands that way, like the life and death of Jesus Christ. That's not principle. The life and death of Buddha is not principle, right? It's actually the things that these characters portrayed and the ways that they lived their lives out, the choices that they made consciously or otherwise that are actually principle. When we start learning that and putting that in front of everything else, then that's when we're going to become the gods that we're made to be. Otherwise, we're going to continue being just trying to figure out, we're going to keep on playing this inferiority superiority game, and it's going to kick our ass like it has been.
My my wife just told me I forgot to mention Anthony Browder, who's a personal friend of mine, and the work that he's done over in ancient Egypt now with excavating uh, the 25th dynasty tomb um, currently. And then, as a matter of fact, in 2025, he's going to have a public unveiling of the last decade and a half of the work that he's been doing that I've been invited to. So my the teachers that I have, brothers, is very wide, and it's not just in Africa and Egyptology. Like it's very wide. Like I just needed to mention that part.
Yeah, so I was letting y'all talk. I ain't wanna interrupt, right? I wanted to be respectful. Peace, Eli, peace, King. But either or, no matter how you look at it, right? Nobody can show and prove to me if you can. I would like for Cosmic for real. I would like for Cosmic to prove the qualifications of Gene Chapolian. What qualified him to translate the Madu Nature language, the ancient language of ancient Kemet? And if he can't prove to me the qualifications of this individual, listen, I'm gonna tell you this. If you notice during his introduction, he gave us his intellectual lineage. What is Gene Chapolian's intellectual lineage? Don't give me yours and then leave his out. That makes no complete sense. What is Gene Chapolian's intellectual lineage? What makes Gene Chapolian intellectually credible to translate the Madunex? I just want to know. And if you can't prove that, then again, it stands. And to further notice that the Madunecha has never been effectively translated because again, it was translated by a European who was not initiated into the craft, that who ancestors did not know anything about African tradition, African spiritual traditions, the African language, which was a figurative language. Come on, man, we got to stop this, man. Intellectually, masturbation is what we doing right now. Well, what you doing? Intellectually, masturbation. Just skin all over the place. It makes no sense. Can you prove to me Gene Napoleon's intellectual property, Cosmic? Can you do that?
Brother Shake, is that your criteria? Because that's not gonna fly anywhere, brother. Like I said,
Yes,
man, this is a body of
qualification.
work.
Yes.
No, brother, this is a body of work that's already been done, man. You got thousands of people with Egyptology degrees that are over there translating the glyphs, man. Like you are the one that needs to present evidence that it's off. I
Who
don't
is the
need to
founders of
prove
Egyptology?
anything to
Who is the
you,
founders
Shake.
of
Shake,
Egyptology?
I don't need to prove anything to you because that is a mute point. Regardless of whatever happens from this conversation, you are still going to have people translating the glyphs in this tradition. You, the only criteria for it being wrong is it is a white man. You have done absolutely no study on why it could be
Watch
wrong.
this, y'all.
You are asking
Watch
me
this,
to
y'all.
convince you. You are asking me to convince you. What I want to tell everybody listening is this is a mute point. He's not even bringing up any reasons why the current method of translation is wrong. All he is saying is this is a white man not initiated in a tradition, therefore he cannot know. That is his only evidence. But this
Y'all see
brother
this?
doesn't do any study and nothing. This is
Do y'all see
ridiculous as an
this?
argument.
Everybody knows my studying method. It's immaculate. Check out this, y'all. Who is the father of Egyptology? Who is the father of it? Gene Frank, Franco's Napoleon is called the father of Egyptology. This is the father of Egyptology right here. The science that Cosmic and these niggas in the so-called Kemetic community, this is they daddy. This white man with sideburns. He's a mess. He looked like a Mexican with sideburns. And if you notice, he's doing a Masonic hand signal. Look at that hand signal. This is the father of Egyptology. Look at it right here, y'all. We have yet to see Cosmic come up and defend his argument. I'm showing y'all what it is. Can't make this up. This is according to the collector.com. This is they daddy. I'm just saying. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Is he not the father of Egyptology, Cosmic?
Like I said, Brother Shake, all you're doing is trying to appeal to biases, man. Because he's white, he's wrong. That's ridiculous. That is the most ridiculous statement I've ever heard. If he's doing something racist, then we can say it. If he's doing something that's trying to promote one people over another, sure, we can rock with that. We can go on it. But you're just going to say this man is wrong because he's white? That's your argumentation? Brother, that's garbage, man. Come up with something better. Like, really say he made mistakes in this, and this. When you translate it, this doesn't make sense. Go look at the Rosetta Stone and see how these aren't making any sense, man. Then you have a real discussion. You just trying to tell me and convince the people because a man is white, he's wrong. I mean, if that's your goal and that's what the people rock with, then that's your audience and that's the way it goes. You know what I'm saying? There's no, I can't get beyond that. If that's how y'all want to rock, that's how y'all want to rock. As far as a scientific understanding, as far as trying to evolve and push information further, that methodology is flawed. Just because he's white, he's
Who was
wrong.
his
Is
teacher,
he? Is his
Cosmic? Who was Gene
methodology wrong?
Napoleon's teacher?
Is his methodology wrong, Shake?
Who was it? All right,
Have
first
you
off,
studied the methodology to say it's wrong? Have you done that? Are you just saying he's white, he's wrong? It looks like all you're doing is he's white, he's wrong.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is this, right? This is all I'm saying. Who was his teachers and how did he learn the Madu natural language? Who was his teachers? I hear crickets. Who was his
Yeah, you
teachers?
hear crickets because I'm not really thinking you're I'm not even seeing like you deserve a response, man. Like you're not being honest, I don't think. Like just be honest, man. Be upfront. Are you saying because he is white, he is wrong? Be upfront,
Nope, I'm
man. Just
saying it
be
based on
clear
this
with it.
right here. I'm
What are
saying
you
it based
saying?
on this right here. Check out this, y'all. The Rosetta Stone, because this is what they said Jean Napoleon used to decipher the Egyptian, the Egyptian Madu natural language. How it says, y'all. The Rosetta Stone. First off, Rosetta alone is not even a Kemetic, don't even come from the Kemetic language alone. So check out this. The Rosetta Stone, a symbol for different things to different people. Do y'all hear that? A symbol for different things to different people.
That's hot.
Is a dark colored I can't pronunciate this word, rock lee.
Granted,
We go get it.
granted,
Granite stela inscribed with the same text in three scripts: Demotic,
demotic.
hieroglyphic, demotic, hieroglyphic, and Greek. This is what it says right here, y'all. Right? In July 1799, first off, hieroglyphic is the images on the wall. They didn't even have the decency to even say Madu Natural. It just say hieroglyphic. Hieroglyphic, again, is the images on the wall. It is not the language. The language is Madu Natural. Madu Natural means language of the God. Madu means language. Natural means God. It literally means language of the gods. And we know that the gods didn't write up on Rosetta Stone, the Egyptian deities. They didn't. We know this for a fact. Now check out this. In July 1799, the stone was found in the city of Rosetta. Y'all see this shit? Modern El Rashad. So we got a European language name right here, Rosetta, and then we got the Arab shit going on right here, El Rashad, by French soldiers during Napoleon's invasion in Egypt. So he used the stone that was discovered during Napoleon's invasion of Egypt to decipher the Kemetic language. We have to make this make sense, y'all. This is what he used. This shit ain't real. This shit ain't real. Because when you do your research on where did Jean Napoleon study, he didn't study under the Egyptian priest. He didn't study under none of them. So again, this is another hocus pocus fairy tale that the Kemetic people seek to get over on us. Now they want to hold the Tom Who. They want to hold the Tom Who to be credible. And they expect us to roll with this bullshit. Again, he refused to tell us who was Jean Napoleon's teacher. Because I know the answer. I know the answer.
Yeah,
This is
brother,
actually how
your whole conversation is bull, man. Like, be upfront with your
I'm
information,
being.
bro. Like, just be upfront.
I'm showing and
Don't
proving.
don't do the
I'm
little
showing and
secret.
proving,
Don't do the
Casa.
little secret question. You're not showing and proving nothing. But he's a white man that came in and deciphered it. He's
All
gonna be
right,
the
so
first one. He's gonna be
check
the
this.
first one in the Western lineage to say he's done that. So your whole conversation, who is his teacher, doesn't even make sense. If he's the first one to decipher it, he taught himself. But he also,
So
I
a
mean,
white man
he's the
can
one who
really
did
tell
it.
me,
Now, wait,
hold
wait,
on, hold on.
stop, stop,
Wait,
stop,
that's not
stop.
now you
He
being
had an
manipulative.
Egyptian teacher.
Indictment
He had
charge
an
number one.
Egyptian teacher that did that. And then on top of that, there's a book called The Lost Millennium of Hieroglyphs that talk about the Muslim effort at translating the glyphs. So it's just the Western's approach to it. And then in the 3rd century AD, there was a translation by Hor Apollo, who was an Egyptian priest who translated the glyphs as well. Well, he was a Roman priest, but who translated the glyphs as well. So there's been efforts done. The Hor Apollo's method and technique was a little off because he was going slowly by looks and images. But But I mean, your conversation. I mean, he's the one in the West. He's the one who started. Now, his teacher, I know he had some help from another Egyptian that's there. But, brother, like, what is your point? Like, like, you gotta come with something better than he is white, man. You gotta come with something better than that. You have to look at the techniques and show how he's off. Because even your conversation, Medu means words, word of God, is off if the hieroglyphs hasn't been translated.
I didn't
Because
say
you
that
don't
it
have any
means
clue.
language of God,
No,
and that's
Medu means
according to
word.
even
Medu means
Egyptology.
word, not language. It means word. Um,
Well, that's
now,
based on interpretation.
yeah, interpretation, right? But you don't. You should just say it's absolute bullshit because it hasn't been translated. It doesn't mean nothing. Netter doesn't mean nothing because it hasn't been translated. We have no clue what they're saying. From your argumentation standpoint, everything is bullshit. Medu Netter,
Oh, it
that
is.
phrase is
It
bullshit.
definitely is.
Kemet is bullshit. So everything basically it's an unknown civilization that just exists and everybody's making shit up about it. That's what you're coming at. That's what you're
All right.
saying. We don't know absolutely nothing. King Narmer, we don't know. The pyramid of Unas, we have no clue about. The Ka, the Ba, the Shechem, the Ra, we have no clue about. We don't know anything. That's your argument. Everything is
I
bullshit.
mean, your
Everything is
master
made up.
teacher himself didn't go to Kemet.
Stop saying master teacher number one, because I never use that terminology, so don't put that on me.
Well, the guy whose society you belong to never been to Kemet.
Yes, that would be it.
He never
But
went there. He
now,
never
now,
took
now
his
you have
ass
to
there.
understand. So what, brother? I mean, many
Them
look at
alien.
look at
All right, so
Elijah
look.
Muhammad and the Nation of Islam, and people do a lot of different things in different ways. It's about being a part of an organization and understanding the strength of an organization, brother. You know that
All
you know
right.
that as well.
So listen, check this, y'all. Right. I'm gonna leave that alone because we clearly see that the brother does not know who Chapollion's teacher is. We just heard him say, and I'm paraphrasing, the guy basically taught himself. That's not credible enough. That's not credible enough. He said this by his own omission. He said this out his own mouth. Peace and thank you. I'm about to thank you. He said this, not she. This is his words. He just said this European taught itself. So that alone proves again that the Madu Neter, the ancient language of Kemet, has not been effectively translated, and especially not by no nigga, by no melanated being. So now we depending on the white man to translate our languages.
There
Just
you
like
go, and that's your whole
no, no,
argument
no.
right there.
You cutting
We
me off.
depended on the
You
white
was the
man,
main one talking
and
about
that's
cutting off,
off.
and now you cutting me off.
Yeah,
Now we depending on the white man to translate our languages. Just like Kemet depended on the white man to protect the pyramids of Giza. See, they don't tell you about that. Ask them who was protecting the pyramids of Giza. It wasn't none of these Kemetic niggas screaming Hotep, banging ox. Wasn't none of them. Ain't not one nigga, Sheikh Diop, Dr. Ben Yannicka. I ain't see none of them defending them. They talk about the pyramids. It sound good, but ain't none of them take their ass over there to defend them. It was a white man. Who designed the Egyptian flag? It wasn't Sheikh Diop, Dr. Ben Yannicka. It wasn't Karenge. It wasn't none of them. It wasn't Cosmo. It wasn't the society of Asar, Haru, or no disrespect, whatever the brother society belonged to. It wasn't none of them. It was a white man. So Kemet needs white people in order to exist. Is what I'm getting from this. They need good white folks in order to exist as not just a society, but as a group of people. You need white folks. Again, the flag of Egypt is a Nazi flag. But I mean, hey, what do y'all think? What do y'all viewers who've been here from the beginning? What do y'all think about this, man? Prime, you still there, King? I know Prime be working and listening. He probably away from the phone.
Yeah,
But yeah.
yeah,
What
bro.
do
I
you
had to
think
stay away
about
from
this,
my
man?
phone. That's why I typed in. That's why I was typing in the comments. I just walked back up, so I ain't hear nothing
Oh, you
what was
good?
said. I had walked away from my phone. I'm sorry.
All right, for sure.
What's
You
going on?
good, King.
Sorry
I'm
about
gonna
that.
put it to you. Good, King. I'm gonna put it to you like this. Anytime I can have an intellectual spiraling match with my brother Cosmic, I'm good. Though we may see things differently, this still my brother. Listen, I don't look just like boxing, basketball, baseball, football. Intelligence is a competitive sports too. Don't think because we up here intellectually spiraling, this ain't my brother. Man, it's been my brother for years. We just intellectually spiraling. It's cool to see things differently because all we doing is sharing our intelligence with y'all, the viewers, and allowing y'all to decide and weigh in on what's truth and falsehood. I disagree with my brother. He disagreed with me, and that's cool. Because it ain't about me and him. It's about the people. That's really what it's about. But I'm saying based on my research, my investigation,
But
I
but
have
brother
to
Shake, the thing
disagree.
is, it's a whole. I mean, it is a whole division of the educational world. Like you're essentially just saying all work on each of this bullshit.
I'm not saying all,
Cause
I
it,
won't say all work. I won't say that. Listen, when me and you in an arena to battle with each other, as far as intelligence, come on, Cosmic. You didn't debate it before. You done been
I
on the
know, but
same
I'm trying to
shows I done
point
been on.
out, the logical conclusion of what you're saying.
The logical
You're
conclusion
you're
is that
this you're
Alexander the Great is a god in Egypt, in ancient Egypt. Oh
Yeah,
damn,
but
my
I mean,
bad.
it's out of no, but it's out of context. Like it's the context that you put things in. Like when we like the Egyptian. Okay, so the middle class Egyptian priests, there are some. There, I mean, they conspired with, they worked with the people that militaristically dominated them. You have that as a model everywhere you go. We call them Uncle Toms here. But you have
If
Uncle
they wouldn't have
Toms
let the
in
white
every
man into
nation.
Egypt, we would still have Egypt, Cosmic. If
No,
the
we
ancient
wouldn't.
Egyptians,
No, we
we
wouldn't.
would
Brother Shake,
look
that's
at
what.
this,
No, we wouldn't.
Cosmic.
Shake, Shake.
Cosmic.
It was
Who is
military.
this
Wait,
on the
Shake.
wall?
Shake, hold
Who
on
is
a
that?
second. Let's look at this, Shake. What made Egypt fall primarily was the developing military strength of the people around them. That's what made Egypt fall. Egypt fell through the course of time because it was first of all, it was conquered militaristically. It was because it was trying to respond to the developing power of the nations around them. Like when you really get into some Egyptian slavery, get into the 18th dynasty, like where it was almost like an initiation ritual for the new pharaoh to go into Mesopotamia and capture Mesopotamian Canaanite slaves. This is why you get on the Brooklyn Touring Papyrus those Yahweh type names has slaves inside an Egyptian royal household, because during the 18th dynasty they were capturing hella Mesopotamian Canaanite people. Why? Because
That's
the
not true according to
Mesopotamian.
the Armana. That's not true according to the Armana tablets.
No,
No
that's
disrespect.
100% true. Like look at the
Have you
whenever
ever
had
checked out the
Shepsut went
Armana
out,
tablets?
Armana, they're called the Armana tablets.
Have you ever checked out the
Yes,
Armana tablets?
yes, I've read them.
What are they?
They are correspondences between the vassal states within the that Kemet had with the Canaanite regions. The
All right.
correspondence between the princes. I've read them, brother, because they were established
What is
during the
this?
18th dynasty. Wait a second, let me explain. The princes were established after Egypt set up basically ambassadors to rule in Egypt's name in Canaan.
That's true.
And so
That's
what
true.
and what the Armana letters basically are is the people. Well, there are multiple different people, but some of the primary letters are talking about the issues that they're having trying to maintain control over these Canaanite people. And this is where you get information about the Amaru, the Haparu, and the Shashu being rebels and being revolutionaries in the for the Canaanite people fighting to get to the Egyptian military power. You find this in the Armana letters. The correspondences between it, but but you only get that political setup after you've conquered the people. That's after they've taken the slaves away. Like you can't get
Cosmic,
away
I'm
from
in
that, brother.
agreement with you on that. But what is this right
Yeah,
here?
I just say what it is, man.
Do you know what this is?
Just say what it is, brother.
I'm asking you before I said, do you know what this is?
Just say what it is, brother. Just say what it is, man.
All right, y'all. This is the ancient Egyptian god, Alexander the Great, wearing the horns of the Egyptian god Amun Ra. This is when the ancient this is the byproduct of when the ancient Egyptians recognized Alexander to be the son of God. This was in the temple of Apis in Memphis right here. Look at him standing before the bull. Look, standing before the bull. Check out this. Let me show you something. It gets deep. It got to the point where they put this motherfucking pack of wood on the wall. This is Alexander the Great, recognized as an Egyptian god, y'all. An Egyptian god. Imagine that. A white man, just like, look, and being an Egyptian god now. This is no different than what the so-called Kemetic community is doing today for our Gene Napoleon. He translated your language. He basically your God, because since he translated your language, he gave you your understanding of Kemet. So your understanding of Kemet come from a white man. No matter how you shape and mold it, it come from a white man, because he the translator of your language.
Brother, like I said, you gotta come with something better than he's a white man. You gotta show how it's wrong.
Show me how
Then I'm
he's right.
trying to show you. Brother, I don't have to show you. It's a body of work, man. I mean, what you need to do is you need to go to the university. Where are you, Detroit? You're close to Chicago. You need to go to the University of Chicago, Egypt School of Egyptology, and bring these questions to them and
That's a
argue
white
them
man's
wrong.
school.
Yeah, white, he's wrong, he's white, he's wrong. You
That's
need
a
to
white
have
man's school.
methodology to show, you need to have a methodology to show why the technique of translation is wrong, man.
Do you know what
The whole
schools I
color, the whole
graduated
color
from?
thing, the whole color thing ain't really rocking, man.
Do you know which
I mean,
schools
that
I
color
graduated
thing,
from? I got my credentials. Do
but
you know what schools, which universities I went to? Brother Cosmic, do you know?
brother, you need to start answering the questions. Those aren't real conversations, man. This
I
brother,
mean, you
that's
keep
not
saying
even
I need
that's
to go
I
to
don't know
school
how
to
you,
develop a methodology. I'm asking, do you know that I
I didn't
actually
say you
graduated
need
from
to go to
different
school to
universities?
develop a methodology. I said you need to develop a methodology to critique the current method of translating the glyphs to show how it's flawed. I had said nothing about going to school to learn anything. But then you need to take that methodology that you then developed and go against the top people who are doing this and show them why it's wrong. Beyond
Y'all,
just
look at
saying
this.
he is white.
Look at this. Look at these Kemetic slave traders. Look at these race traders right here from Kemet, teaching the goddamn Greeks, teaching these goddamn Packerwoods. Look at them teaching. This go right along hand in hand with Professor George James, The Stolen Legacy, when he said that the ancient Egyptians taught the Europeans after 5,000 years of prohibition. Look at it.
Didn't the
Greece
Moors
came
teach
into
the
Africa.
Europeans?
Huh?
Didn't the Moors teach the Europeans?
No, and the Chemetics did. You would
Yeah,
have to show me
but more
proof. You
recently,
would
didn't the
look,
Moors
y'all see,
come up and teach
look,
the Europeans
look.
how to
I hit
bathe?
him with something so hard. He left Kemet
That's not
and went to
hard. That's
Morocco, the
not hard.
Moorish
Shit.
Empire.
Any
I
any
knocked him out
student
of
any
Kemet,
student
y'all.
of
I
yours.
knocked
Wait,
him out of Kemet to
I'm
West
looking
Africa.
at your methodology, and any student of yours is gonna learn information out of context and out of time
No,
period.
they not.
You got to put it in context, man. You
It
have
is
to
in
put it in
context.
context. Jesus, man, this is interesting. I mean,
Look
look,
at this, y'all. Look.
when somebody is militaristically dominated, people acquiesce. You have Uncle Toms in every civilization. You're not going to get away from that.
What I'm showing y'all is this.
You
Look
have to
at this white
develop
man
better
being served.
arguments.
Look at Alexander. You cut me off. Look at Alexander the Great. This is why they call him the Great, because he was great in Kemet. Look at him getting served by ancient Kemets, Chemicians. Look at the glyphs on the wall. Look at this shit. They serving this white man in Kemet. Just look at it. Can't make this shit up. You cannot make this shit up. You can't. However, I enjoyed the dialogue, my brother. I really did enjoy it. I see that we ain't gonna reach an agreement on it, and that's cool. It doesn't mean that we hate each other. You my brother no matter what. We just ain't gonna reach an agreement on it. I think that Kemites were race traders. On so many levels. They enslaved niggas. They gave the European permission to enter Egypt. If it wasn't for them, a white man would have never entered Africa. They would have stayed their own. They ran when the Persians and the Romans was on their ass, and the Greeks, they ran. You know, Professor George said that they fled. You know, they got the fuck on. Yeah, man, they taught them Europeans, man. If it wasn't for the Kemites, you know, we would still be in possession of Africa, and the Europeans would still be in the forests, mountain ranges, the caves, and the cliffs of Europe. Just saying.
That's
But
brother. That's a flawed analysis of the situation. The Europeans at the time were developing militaristically. They defeated ancient Egypt. I mean, that's just you're stating
they
facts.
came in as students first, and that come from even Baba Haru even talk about it. They came in as
Yeah, they
students
came in
first. They
as
didn't come in
students, but
fighting
the
with the
yeah,
Egyptians.
yeah, right. But that's
What
not
did
the
Sheikh
point.
Anti Diaz say
But
the
wait,
ancient
wait, wait,
Egyptians was
wait.
working with
When
military
Thales,
armies?
when Thales, when Thales and Socrates came in, that's 500 to 400 years before Alexander.
Have you ever
That
read?
you're conflating the time periods, man.
No, I'm not. No, I'm
Yes,
not.
you
And I could
are.
prove it. And I could prove it.
When did okay? The first student was Thales, man. That's in 800, 600 to 800 BCE. Alexander is 332. I mean, the reason why that happened was because of the military political situation. The Greeks were conquering the world, the known world, before they got to Egypt.
Look at this, y'all. This is timeline. Ethnic groups of people going into Egypt. This timeline right here. This time I'm not gonna show everything I got on Kemet because I'm waiting on the right Kemite so-called pre-scholar uh to come out of hiding so I could pull all this good shit out. But this is the timeline of different nations that went into Kemet and made war with them and conquered Kemet. Listen, the Persians had the motherfucking Kemites so much under oppression, they welcomed Alexander the Greek with open arms. They just wanted the Persians to get their foot off their motherfucking neck. However, right, when you do your research on Kemet, I'm showing y'all a timeline. When you do your research on Kemet, you do your research, you will also discover this, that they were working with highly advanced military weaponry. They had ballistic missiles. They had bombs. They had everything. The Kemites wasn't no civilization to play with. When it came to war, I need y'all to do me a favor. Get this book. Get this book, y'all, right here. I'm finna show y'all the book to start y'all off. I was gonna pull this out, but I want to wait till I run into a motherfucker who's a beast at this comedic information. Get this book. Check out this, y'all. The African Origin of Civilization, Myth or Reality, Sheikh Anti Diop. Get this book, y'all. This book right here, this is a bad motherfucking book right here. This book. You read this book right here, these so-called Kemites won't be able to tell you shit. You gonna be able to chop these niggas down one by one respectfully. You get your hands on this book. It's a free PDF file. Get it while you can. The African Origin of Civilization, Myth or Reality by Sheikh Anta Diop. Get this book, y'all. This should be the business of everybody who is interested in African culture, civilization, as well as traditions. Get this book. You do not want to miss. Check this. You go learn the model of which the Sphinx was built after. Alone, just go fuck. You go learn the model after which the Sphinx was built up of. Who? What was the pharaoh's name? I shared this with my students. Check out this book. Also, don't just give you imagery, physical evidence that you could see in the museums, but it also gives you timeline. This is a bad motherfucking book right here. You need this. Check out this, y'all. Get this book. You need it. Like I say, just because I disagree with my brother on certain things, I agree with him a few times. Hold on, y'all. 1 second. Let me mute. Oh, man, that's what's up. Y'all, make sure y'all get this book. But look, I love and appreciate each and every one of y'all cosmic. I appreciate you, my brother. Don't get it twisted. Yeah. I appreciate you, my brother, for your intellectual property. Just because I disagree with you don't mean I disagree with you on everything. Because there's some things I tilt my hat off to you and be like, yo, this brother is knowledgeable on this, and I appreciate that. But then there's other aspects based on my research where I be like, I can't rock with that. And so further notice. Yet and still, I appreciate you. I value you. I do respect you. I do. Otherwise, I wouldn't have this dialogue with you. I do respect you. And I do feel as though you and your community do have a lot to offer. We just intellectually spiraling, but I do appreciate you, King, straight up.
Likewise, brother.
And
Likewise.
True and man, we already know the love and respect there. You already know, even in Kemet, they was debating in the temples. That's what it was. We did this in all African civilizations. We sat down the battle of the wise, the battle of the minds. The great meetings of the mind. So the love is there, the respect is there, man. And to all the viewers, man, I hope y'all enjoyed yourself. We
All right, brothers and sisters. Peace.
Damn, my bad, y'all. We appreciate y'all and we love y'all. And we'll see y'all soon. We love and appreciate each and every one of y'all. Peace and love, family.
All right.
Hotep. Peace.